really well to
Absolutely.
what he's playing against.
But the big question for the first round is who won the mind games with the blind pick? Because you blindly pick your first deck, and AKAWonder selected Paladin, where SilverName actually got his Patron Warrior. So who has a better matchup here?
It's interesting. Normally you'd say by far and away Patron has the advantage in this matchup, but like we said, it's a twist on Patron. There are extra cards in there that aren't going to help him out. He seems to have targeted his lineup more at control, maybe looking at forcing something like Reno Lock out of the tournament, for example, with his sort of Malagos Lock instead of, Malagos Rogue instead of Oil Rogue, the extra anti-control tech with the Worgens in the Patron deck. So he can potentially be punished by this aggressive mid-rangey lineup of AKAWonder.
Possibly, but if he actually gets, well, he has Whirlwind. If he gets the Patrons, he might actually put Paladin in a position where Paladin is without a board and can't really do anything, because is AKAWonder even playing Consecration? Like, a lot of people did cut it. I do remember he played Divine Favor in his list, but I'm not sure if he plays Consecration at all.
I think we saw Consecration from his opponent in the semifinals, but not in AKAWonder's list.
No, I don't think it's in his list. The one thing that fascinates me about this Patron list is it's very combo orientated. It's going back to its combo roots. It's got draw potential, you know, it's got the Gnomish Inventors, it's got the shield blocks, and then it relies on a very different combo overall. But yeah, I really enjoy that part, that kind of style of Patron that we're seeing today.
Absolutely, it's really exciting to see it in the final as well, because a lot of people said this version is not stable. Like, Patron with the mid-rangey creatures like Floating Berserkers and Piloted Shredders is really cool, because you don't really rely on the Patron combo, you rely on just minions, and Patron is there to fill the curve and to have something that is just unanswerable by many decks. But then, like, you take the consistency out of that version, you put a bit more draw, and you put another combo inside with the Worgen, and he's now in the final. He made it.
Yeah, it's crazy to see these kind of off-the-wall decks come this far. I mean, I'm still waiting to get this opportunity to talk to him to find out about those Yetis, but more pressing matters right now. He's able to deal with the Knife Juggler. But again, this is the kind of turn where a regular Patron deck would be developing perhaps a Frothing Berserker, perhaps a Acolyte of Pain, because they have these more minions in the deck. So the fact that he just has to kind of passively shield block this turn goes some way to illustrate the point that he's not playing a list that is as strong against this deck as it should be with the standard version. But Must Have Battle is going to come down here, and one thing still for sure in any version of Patron Warrior, you have a lot of Whirlwind effects.
Yeah, you do have a lot, and there is a Whirlwind in the hand at Deathspite as well. I think, like, overall for this match, what AKAWonder will try to do is somehow exhaust resources on the Warrior side, because what you can end up with is some kind of board with maybe Shredder and Mistress Challenger as a Paladin, and then Warrior sits on the Worgen combo. And he just looks at your 30 health and it's like, okay, I can deal 22.
Right.
But I cannot really play it and just passively deal it. I will just lose there.
And there's no surprises anymore from SilverName. AKAWonder knows what's up now, so he knows what to expect. He knows what's to play around. Right now, SilverName has a nice opportunity to develop Deathspite and get that Whirlwind effect next turn.
Yeah, for sure. Deathspite seems like a much stronger option here than just straight up Whirlwinding this board, because you expect a further minion to be played on the following turn. You can then target that with the second Deathspite swing and clear out the board. So seems solid. SilverName definitely considering a lot of options now, already looking at draw percentage chances. So he may be looking at what he can get out of those Battle Rages over the next couple of turns, how likely he is to draw a minion in order to activate the Battle Rage, all those sorts of things. This is the kind of level of consideration that goes into these plays.
What do you think about Deathspite? Like, Deathspite seems quite nice here overall, because not only you respond to those 1/1 minions, but whatever is being played, you should be able to damage it as well.
Right.
If you are lucky enough to top deck a Patron, then you might just go into Inner Rage, Patron Inner Rage Whirlwind turn.
Absolutely. I love getting it up for that chance to draw Patron. That's probably one of the things he was considering while checking his chances on his deck. But it's, you always set up this play to be able to potentially clear the board of the Paladin next turn. The problem is your two expected outcomes are Piloted Shredder or Keeper of Alderman. Yeah. And in both of those cases, it's not perfect just with the Deathspite swing, but still it's a much better situation than not having it equipped.
There's a possible coin into Lothab or Sludge Belcher.
Right.
And that would be perfect.
That would be the dream, yeah. If that's what you're shutting down, then that would be the dream with this play for sure.
Well, Shredder comes down, like you said, it's not the ideal situation, but at least he responds to the 1/1s and clears part of the Shredder. Yeah. And this is what you said about AKAWonder. He's just going to grind out these resources from SilverName, and Shredder is just a perfect card. Low Feb comes off the top there, So now he has an opportunity to clear most of this and drop a nice 5/5 body himself.
Yeah, but I think the problem for SilverName is that he doesn't have that much draw possibility at the moment. Like, he has double Battle Rage, but it's not like he can draw a lot from it. Just cycling it for one card is not doing much.
That's kind of my question here is, do you deliberately play the Lotheb in the bad order, where you play it first, just so you preemptively damage it for next turn to maybe activate the Battle Rages? You could then potentially get a 4-card Battle Rage if your opponent doesn't have a way of dealing with it.
I think it's too risky, because you know there is a minion coming from Shredder, and there is one weapon damage at least.
Right.
So you don't want to lose your Lotheb to a free 2 minion.
If like Bloodflame Raptor pops out, suddenly you're in trouble, yeah.
It's like, oh my Lotheb is contested, like what do I do now?
Yeah.
Speaking of Lothebs, another one comes down here from AKAWonder. So the Battle Rage idea is kind of out the window this turn.
Yeah.
However, the Fiery War Axe allows him to clear the entire board if he wishes. But it doesn't do much else, unfortunately. He's got no minions in hand at this point, so he's going to be walking into an empty board, and AKAWonder can just replenish his resources.
You know it's a good Lotheb turn when your hand costs, what, 34 mana? 21, 27, 32, yeah, 34 mana.
Yeah, well, the good news for SilverName is that AKAWonder doesn't have big minions yet. He doesn't have Mysterious Challenger, there's no Dr. Boom, and if he goes for Juggler into Master for Battle, there's the Whirlwind. So for now, he needs to decide what to do this turn. And is there anything else, just like trading, killing the 2/3 and armor up?
I don't see anything else. Maybe he considered a value trade to keep the Lotheb on the board, but there's just no merit to it because you're equipping the War Axe anyway to deal with that 2/3. So just ends up being the straightforward, obvious play, and that was a huge Lotheb for him. Just essentially made him pass turn, but an equally just strong draw with the Fiery War Axe, so that he at least had something to do that turn.
Yeah.
Right?
And now AKAWonder can develop the Muster for Battle, and then he can coin out Minibot if he wants as well, and he develops a threatening board. The War Axe does deal with a Knife Juggler, but look how much damage it's already done on its own. So this is looking pretty worrying for SilverName. He does have ways to kind of clear most of it, but this is what he's doing. AKAWonder's just putting constant pressure on and hoping a SilverName runs out of answers.
Yeah. Chooses to muster first and then attack afterwards to play around Harrison Jones Kappa. It's a legitimate consideration sometimes. It's obviously not. I'm sure that is just missequencing from AKAWonder's part. You know, this is a big occasion for him, of course. Tiny little mistake, but he could have one extra charge on that weapon right now. But sometimes it is actually correct to play around Harrison Jones like that.
Absolutely, it makes sense. So here SilverName is just trying. Oh, he's slowly picking the combo parts, but it might not be enough.
It's like you said earlier, he's at a health total where the walking combo just doesn't mean anything. So now he goes for the slam. He could Whirlwind, Inner Rage. He could clear everything, but like I said, it cost him resources.
Actually, does it really mean anything? Because isn't it 1025? It is. How much damage can he deal with Sworgan right now? So he can, with double Inner Rage, like we just need to count the Worgen. So basically Worgen is 5, 6 plus 4.
Yeah.
It's 10.
It's 10.
It's 20,
23.
right?
Yeah, 23 plus the weapon. Yeah, 23 with the weapons.
Yeah. So like, Rampage of the top? No, there will be not enough mana. Like, what will he really need to draw to finish this game?
No, he has the mana for Rampage. He'll have 8 mana next turn. That's all he needs.
Although the Noble Sacrifice is going to lock out one attack, he doesn't have that weapon available anymore, so he doesn't have all the damage that he needs to finish this game.
Right.
It's just good to count the damage anyway, just to know if there is a possibility or not.
The Patron draw the turn after the Whirlwind was used, just a little bit too late here.
Yeah.
Has to find a defensive play, but the Patron double Inner Rage and Armor Up might be his best line. Does it keep him alive? Barely. He's going to look for a more defensive option with the cycle.
Well, but if Paladin doesn't pick up anything, then maybe he'll actually find something that Rampage. If
that appeared to be Boom, yeah. There was a number 7 on it. That's all we saw. So there's a pretty good chance. Yeah, there it is.
And now the Warrior's just in such a terrible situation. Those Boom bots represent potential lethal just from dealing with them.
Right.
Just doesn't have a lot of health left, so SilverName's going to need to find something to get back in this game.
I think you can probably even afford to respect this Gnomish Inventor just in case you calculate the potential 4 or 5 card combo in the hand with the Worgen. Like, you have enough power on board right now to respect this 2/4 and take it out here, I think.
How much would it be with the Rampage? 7 plus 4 plus 6, 26.
Yeah.
That would be exact lethal.
Yep.
If he picks up Rampage right now, it would be so sad. Okay.
All right.
Because there's the Noble Sacrifice just waiting for him. And he would still have to go for the combo. You just have to assume this is like Avenge or whatever.
Yeah.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, but no, definitely this is the end.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, that tiny little 1-3 taunt is not going to put up a great deal of work here against this board.
Especially with the owl.
Wow, the BM owl.
Yeah,
What the hell?
because the owl is also SilverName's mascot.
Yeah, that's very
like
true. Yeah.
Using his own mascot
like-
against him.
Exactly,
Mind
right? The mind
games.
games.
So AKAWonder takes the first game here with the Secret Paladin. The Secret Paladin has been the deck that has saved his life with these reverse sweeps. He's always gone to the Paladin last, and it's just stomped his opponent. So him playing it first is an interesting decision. Maybe he just sick of having to reverse sweep everyone.
Right,
I thought, right, I'll get a win now.
Just get it out of the way, yeah. I mean,
Makes sense.
like you said, every Paladin win has been a stomp, that one included. So
Yeah.
it might just be, we talked, he was a little bit nervous, a little bit emotional about the situation. So he's like, okay, my Paladin deck's been performing. I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to play Paladin. I'm going to feel comfortable, and we're going to go 1-0 up.
Makes sense, but on the other hand, I've seen SilverName just losing every first game with that warrior deck. I don't know, like honestly, guys, he's losing every first game with that warrior deck, and then he actually comes back with it, and then climbs up into a 3-1 win.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
a couple of his decks have looked a little bit suspect, but they've just done enough at the end just to pull them through. It could be worse. He could have brought Face Shaman to the tournament, for example. the one in 5 deck in this tournament where the only win is the Face Shaman mirror, where it actually had to win.
That is so sad. Hopefully
Yeah.
Blizzard is taking notes on Shaman improvements for the next expansion.
What, face shaman improvement?
Well, Shaman overall, like
Yeah.
I remember mid-range Shaman, but that was so long ago that healing totem was actually healing the hero back in the day.
I remember the old
Those were the
Argent
days.
Crusader, double Argent Crusader, double Fire Elemental Shaman back in the day mid-range. That was my favorite version.
Pressure. There's so much pressure on AKAWonder, and he might or may just crack under it because he wants the style so bad
Yes.
that I wonder if it will affect him at some point.
It's very possible. What's working in his favor is that just naturally the style of the decks, he has the aggressive mid-rangey style lineup. So he gets that kind of comfort zone feeling where he's playing the minions and asking the questions, and just naturally when those matchups come in, it's the person that's against the mid-range that feels a bit more uncomfortable because they're scrapping for answers all the time. So he has the potential to just stay in this groove and just hit the rhythm and just stick with the mid-range style. And if he can curve that through, then he should start to feel very comfortable if he hasn't already. It's when he hits his first speed bump, like how's he going to react to that when he gets the first setback?
Definitely. And now we're gonna see his Zoo deck versus the Warrior. And this is his trusty Zoo deck, but at one point in this tournament, he was actually losing with it badly, like starting with 0-2 with that Zoo. So we'll see if the Zoo will actually fail him here, or is he going to climb in a 2-0 lead on the back of it.
Well,
yeah.
hopefully he finds a win with this. I think it would be good for his morale because he's struggled with it in the tournament already. So if he gets a win with the Zoo, he might feel a little bit better having that Druid in the back then to kind of finish off the series with him. But yeah, the Warlock is the deck that he struggled with the most, and maybe you've mentioned before he's kind of a specialist of Zoo as well.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
must be a bit hard on him. A lot of pressure to do well with this deck.
So Aqua, what do you think about this matchup overall? Like, you know both decks by now.
Well, the Worgen version I've never actually played myself. However, I think if AKAWonder can establish enough pressure that the Warrior doesn't get a good Patron turn off to kind of respond to it, he'll probably win this. But Patrons just murder Zoo in the right situation.
I think again, it's those extra cards that you have that are in place of some things like Frothing Berserker and maybe the second Unstable Ghoul. I'm not exactly sure what his list is made up of that can come back to bite you. But if you look at SilverName's draw here, this is an opening hand you'd be happy to have with a pure Patron deck against Zoo. So he's in a pretty comfortable position here, I would say.
You did accent pure. Are you like some patron purist now? Bring back Warsong!
Yes!
He is!
Yes! I literally am!
He loves it.
Yeah.
The Brotherhood of Patron. We still believe that Warsong will get unnerved at some point.
Bring back Warsong Commander
Sign
Bible
the
Thumb.
petition.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do absolutely agree. This hand is disgusting if you're a Zoo player. You expect no of those cards in the Warrior hand.
You've just got everything you need. The weapons, the card draw, the minions. It's just, like you said, it's kind of like a perfect draw for the situation.
Yeah. The only thing that makes it more perfect or continue to be perfect is if Grim Patron itself appears in the next 1 or 2 turns. That would really be the dream as the Patron player in this matchup. But the Acolyte of Pain here is interesting. He could have gone right ahead and just coined into the Deathbite there, attacked into the Imp Gang boss, and set up a really good swing with the Deathbite next turn potentially. But he's going to go ahead and try and just get a greedy double card draw from the Acolyte here. But you're playing against Zoo. You expect them at this point to have a buff card in their hand, and any buff card that raises attack stats, any single one of them will deal with the Acolyte this turn.
And there he is. The Dark Iron Dwarf deals with it, and he only gets 1 card, so doesn't get the value he was looking for from that Acolyte.
I wonder if he was aiming for something like Defender Vargas and wanting the Imp Gang boss to attack into Acolyte of Pain. Like he draws 1 card, but then he can Deathbite the Imp Gang boss afterwards because it has taunt now, and then position himself a bit better, or like maybe just execute.
I mean, this worked out nicely for him, right? If he's expecting Dark Iron Dwarf to come down, he just ended up with a really nice first target for his Deathbite swing.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Okay, so well, Deathbite can deal easily with the rest of the minions for the next turn. As a Zoo player, what do you do now? You know Deathbite is there. If you just go Defender Vargas.
Yeah, the Argus seems pretty nice. Could you protect the spider at least, right?
I think you Argus just the creepers here.
Yeah, or can you just go for Knife Juggler into Void Walker and just go face?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine too. Like, the important thing is to play a taunt that prevents your Imp Gang boss from being hit this turn. It doesn't matter which way you do that. Yeah, I mean, this works fine too.
So now he has to run the Deathbite into a 1-drop, which never feels great as a Patron. And if he does go for that play, he does spawn an extra Imp as well. So he's just putting more pressure on himself by spawning extra minions, and he just doesn't get the value he'd want from it.
Yeah, Deathbite's such a destructive card against Zoo that you really do have to make the Warriors' life as awkward as possible. Like, make them have to do something extra to get the nice clear.
And this is it. The Execute is something extra.
Yeah.
The Execute be saved for, say, a Doomguard, you know, a big Loatheb after it's had its effect, or one thing we've been seeing from AKAWonder, the Void Terrors.
Yes.
Yeah, Void Terrors are there in the deck as well, but like after executing the Haunted Creeper, it doesn't feel good. But still, that was a good play. In that very moment, you want to limit the number of minions on the other side of the board, and SilverName still has a lot of tools to deal with whatever is being played.
Do you overwhelm it now?
I think so. Why not? You just saw an Execute get used, right? Let's just get in there this turn, put the pressure on. I
like this from AKAWonder, you know, just really saying to SilverName, you need answers every turn, and this is one of the big minions that requires usually an Execute or a big game hunter if he's running it.
Right.
And now an 8-8 sits there and just sits happy because he's just seen an Execute go. So how's he going to deal with it? Oh, he gets it off the top! I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, honestly, I do agree that AKAWonder played perfectly. You do want to have this 8-8 minion on board, but if there is a second Execute, like, what can he do? What can he do? This matchup is bad to start with for Zoo. But he's not out of the woods yet. Even though SilverName still has a lot of good cards to deal with this stuff and has some armor, AKAWonder has 30 health, which means he'll be life tapping every turn, drawing 2 cards every turn, and hopefully for him, playing 2 minions every turn to just overwhelm SilverName.
Wow.
But yeah, that turn was huge.
Yeah, that Imp Gang boss though. This interaction is so bizarre. It's like, who's actually winning this interaction? It's like, you can spawn 3 1/1s, but then I'm just going to blow them up. It's like...
Yeah, so
Iron Begal wins this.
Yeah.
Maybe something off this Peddler will help him. Abusive Sergeant can just clear that. Unstable Ghoul, sorry. But yeah, it just locks out that Implosion, which is a very good card for those Zoo to get back into the game with minions.
I think you're better off tapping first before the Peddler, because one of your best options from Peddler here theoretically would be Abusive Sergeant, which actually isn't that good in the first place because it's an unstable Ghoul. If you tap, you have double Doomguard that you can hit, that you can use just to trade with that. You've seen double Execute being used. Whoa!
Implosion into it.
Oh, he gets the number 3 as well.
Okay.
World's greatest implosion.
Can we get a Corsair here? Corsair?
Corsair would be fantastic. It's Abusive Sergeant.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah, really interesting line there. I think I would have personally gone for the tap to see what I drew, because with both Executes gone, just trading into the 1-3 with the Doomguard there just seems pretty threatening, be able to push the Imp Gang boss through to face. But
on the other hand, like, versus this kind of warrior, there's not many opportunities to use Implosion overall.
Sure. Because,
like, if there's a patron, you will not really Implosion patron if you miss.
Right.
And then there are still whirlwind effects. I think, like, he used it quite well. For like, a card for a card, and even got 1 Imp plus value from the effect.
I mean, he's gained a considerable amount of life now from that shield block. He still has an option to armor up. Taskmaster's nice, so he gets to clear that 1-2, gets to get rid of the 2-2, leaving 2 1-1s on board with a nice amount of health. Overwhelming Doomguard would be crippling at this point, but no, that's a very specific series of draws that AKAWonder needs to close out this game.
Yeah, but he is drawing 2 cards a turn now.
Ooh, Lotheb's very nice though.
It really is. I was going to say Egg was a bit of a whiff, but Lotheb more than makes up for it here. Even if the weapon comes down and takes it out, it's still doing its job at this point. 5 damage to face if he has to hit it with the weapon is, you know, AKAWonder will take that at this point.
What do you guys think about not attacking the 2-2? It does enable a possible Battle Rage, but on the other hand, you just play Lotheb, so Battle Rage will just draw 2 cards.
And if you run it into the Lotheb with the weapon, like I said, Lotheb's done his job.
Yeah, job done. 5 to face. So, yeah. It just wants to be aggressive. He can miss the 2 damage by clearing the 2-2, and then he can protect his 5-5, or he can just be happy that this scenario has happened anyway and he's got his damage in.
So Doomguard is basically lethal next turn.
Doomguard is lethal no matter what here, yes.
Is it just worth playing the Inventor? Is there any way you can't play around any lethal draws here?
So, yeah, I mean, Zoo doesn't really deal in 3s, right? They deal in 2s and 4s.
Juggler into Abusive, I guess. Juggler into Dark Iron.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree. Like
niche combinations.
Oh, look at that. Is that a Juggler?
Oh, it's a Doom.
Okay.
That'll do it.
Yep.
AKAWonder. Like I said, I mentioned this at the start of the series. There is a real danger that SilverName's lineup that seems to be targeted at control a little bit. Slightly slower versions of all the decks that you can bring. Slightly slower Patron, slightly slower Rogue. He's just getting punished by AKAWonder here, and he's out to a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, that's an amazing lead already for AKAWonder, but it's not over till it's over.
Yes.
So the last deck for AKAWonder is his Druid, I believe, because the Freeze Mage got banned.
Correct.
And looking at SilverName, Patron versus Druid, okay. Like, even though this is, like, we discussed this matchup before, it might not be as polarized as we thought, especially with the combo. I think it's still an okay matchup for SilverName, as good as it gets. Rogue, we discussed that a bit, but
yes.
From his perspective, like, he did win versus Druid before, and it should be an okay matchup for him. And the last was a coin flip, Druid versus Druid, but he has Yetis, and he did win with Yetis versus Druid.
Yeah, I feel like his opponent really missed the opportunity to stamp home the superiority of Piloted Shredder in that matchup, because he had so many opportunities to, you know, Savage Roar with Death Rattle minions, which would have given him such a huge advantage. It would have shown why people like Shredders, right? Like, the Shredders would have traded up into the Yetis.
I thought you were going to say, like, he did fail with the Piloted Shredders because he got a Lance Carrier instead of Millhouse Mana.
Yeah, that doesn't help either. He didn't select the correct minion to be piloting his Shredders, but yeah, overall, I think there's going to be some significant questioning as to why these Chillwind Yetis are in the deck, but I'm sure he's a really strong player. I'm sure he has a fantastic answer that's going to make me look like a moron immediately.
I was sat with AKAWonder during that match with the Shredders versus Yetis, and AKAWonder straight away said, you just Savage Roar and clear those Yetis, because you still have a minion on board from the Shredder. So AKAWonder spotted straight away the situation he needed to win that Shredder versus Yeti battle we've got going on at the moment. So AKAWonder perhaps has a bit more experience and a bit more knowledge than SilverName's previous opponent. So maybe that'll play to his advantage in this Yeti Shredder conflict.
Battle of the ages. Yeah.
Well, those Yetis were worth $2,000 at least, and it's again like they're fighting for 5,000, guaranteed 3,000, and 5 HCT points because they're guaranteed 10, which is basically making them qualified for the spring prelims in a couple of months, I believe. But 15 maybe will give them a chance to get the sponsorship to fly to an event for the prelims.
Sure. Yeah, unless some insane things happen with the points this month and they're dramatically different from what happened, it seems like that's enough to get you in just from this, you know, being successful in this one tournament, which is awesome.
All right.
So AKAWonder's one game away from winning all this good stuff. He's in the Druid mirror now, and looking at these hands, quite like AKAWonder's hand, although SilverName gets turn 1 Shade. That's a great start for him. AKAWonder has just lots of stuff going on in the early game.
Yeah, he has options as well. There's a number of ways he can do this. He can do Living Roots turn 1 into turn 2 Shade, turn 3 Shade. He can work the Aspirant in there, having now drawn the Shredder. That's another layer of flexibility that kind of encourages the Aspirant a little bit. So there's a lot of ways he can go about this. He could, for example, play the Aspirant now to maybe try and bait the Shade out of hiding and then deal with it next turn. This is the first few turns of Druid are generally the most interesting and the most exciting, and the point where the most decisions happen. And you can see from the combination of cards in this hand. Like, what do you like here, Nick?
I think I like the roots.
Yeah.
Get the 2 shades down. Those shades are so threatening and they're hard to deal with, especially if they grow and give you a better combo range as well, which could be is usually the deciding thing in these matches. What about you, Nimsh? What do you
I
think?
do agree. I kind of like the roots now, and then coin shade into Shredder. I think that should be enough to be able to battle in the mid game. Like, even though you're losing the early game, there is a shade growing which will be bigger than your shades. If you have 2 shades, and maybe one will trade into a Druid of a Claw later in the game, or into something like Lothep. This Darnas's Aspirant is well, so AKAWonder is 2-0, and he can play risky. Like, if he loses this game, he still has 2 more chances with the Druid to win it. That's why risking just a 2-3. If there will be no Wrath, then SilverName will have to attack into that Aspirant, and then it's actually open to get killed by whatever. So I kind of like it. Being the high risk, high reward. Unfortunately for AKAWonder, he actually has to pay the price this time.
Yeah, I think he was just scared of that situation where, like you said, his opponent's shade was just always that 1 turn ahead of his the whole time. He wanted to get it out of hiding, make him respect the Aspirant, but the Wrath was already in hand, but SilverName did go ahead and play the top-decked one instead, which we've talked about Wonder's, tilt factor may be a thing here. He obviously wants this. You can see the level of concentration and stress in the booth right now just from his stance with his head in his hands, so... SilverName definitely doing his bit here to try and add to that tilt wherever he can.
It's quite a contrast, really, isn't it? You've got AKAWonder, like, head buried in hands, concentrate intensely, and SilverName's just there, sat back, chilling, playing some Hearthstone.
Yeah.
In a very kind of intense atmosphere for these 2 players, but SilverName seems to be the cooler one at the moment, at least on the physical side.
It's actually really interesting because it might have something to do with the nationality as well. Like SilverName being from Russia, I believe, right? So they mostly have a really cool approach to the game. They don't get stressed. They just get down to business with the games. And then AKAWonder being from Spain, where a lot of people are just emotional and cheerful.
Yes.
So he is overwhelmed by emotions there, but he is still a deadly machine that's facing SilverName right here.
Yeah, and SilverName not picking up anything else to do until this Druid of the Claw that could potentially come down this turn has come to sting him a little bit, yeah.
Yeti!
Bro, Chillwind Yeti, where were you last turn? Shredder would have been there. Shredder would have been there. Where were you?
Oh, you don't like the Chillwind Yeti, come on.
I'm not a fan, no.
Not yet, unless they actually win the tournament.
Yeah.
Then you will try them. You will have to try them solo.
Hey, I'll try it out. I'm kind of obligated to.
He'll
right?
try it, he doesn't promise you he'll like it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not claiming to be a Pilot Shredder fan. Let's get that out there right now. But I do like winning. That's the point. Yeah.
All right, that's why you like patrons.
Yes.
So AKAWonder picks up Innovate here. Dr. Boom is in hand. Is there anything else you can do that is better than Innovate Dr. Boom at this point?
Yeah, the question of do I or do I not play Dr. Boom on turn 7 is usually quite simple. When you scale that back to turn 5, it becomes a lot more appealing.
Yeah, the only question maybe that you can ask where you have Dr. Boom in hand is that if he has a Big Game Hunter,
right,
am I behind? And is there an alternative to innovate something else that is not targetable by Big Game Hunter? But he didn't really have a great alternative there, so Dr. Boom is absolutely massive.
And you were saying earlier, Aspirant trying to get that shade to come out. Well, Dr. Boom might get that shade to come out if he wants to trade.
Yeah.
Doomsayer boys? Nope.
No.
But I like how he went for the Doomsayer.
He did have the option just to Wrath swipe the Boom itself, just to get rid of the 7/7. But he chose to open up the Shredder first, which is kind of interesting.
He can still attack with the 7/7 to 7/7.
Yep.
I think that's maybe his plan. Try and get the shade to soak up some bombs first. It doesn't. And now this Druid of the Claw can be cleaned up very nicely from AKAWonder's side.
Yeah, that swing on the board from the Innovate Dr. Boom, it was that 7/7 has been pulled out of hiding and now it's been taken off the board. You know, it got some work done. 3 mana, or essentially 1 mana's worth of tempo, as was traded up into 5 mana's worth of tempo, which was a 7-drop because Druid is fun.
Yeah, Druid can cheat that way a bit.
Yeah.
So right now, AKAWonder is actually having initiative with a really nice shade and all those minions, and he still has. Oh, he even goes for the attack.
Yeah.
He feels like, yeah, this is the moment where you cannot respond to my shade on board.
But turn 7, right? If you disrupt them to have to react to your shade, you consider that a win, right? What you just don't want you don't want him slamming Boom of his own here. If he does slam Boom, at least you've punished him for it slightly by getting that extra face damage.
And 11 damage overall with shade.
And you get extra damage with the shade next turn. Then you, like I said, you're trying to make him force a swipe and not play kind of the optimal 7-drop. Here he can Druid of the Claw charge if he feels it's a huge threat. I think you might go for that because you don't want to leave that shade around, but this feels bad, you know, have the wild growth after. It does kind of speed things up on the mana for him, but he just leaves a 2/4. Is that really that bad?
I mean, it's still initiative. It still lets AKAWonder be the guy asking the questions here, and it's going to ask the question very soon of whether that Ancient of Lore can afford to draw cards. I'm sure it will end up drawing cards because the healing play is so passive, but it's a lot of pressure to come down here.
I really like this. I was just thinking, do you wrap your own guy to try and draw something better? He finds Thorson.
Sure, yeah,
that's fair enough.
Fine.
Yeah, Thorson is fine, especially because AKAWonder at the moment has that initiative, so he wants more cards. He doesn't. If somehow there is Ancient of Lore drawing cards that can deal with this 2/4 because of Innervate maybe into something, you'll be in a position where you might actually get outvalued. And if the second Druid is actually escaping your combo range, you might end up with just combo in your hand and never find lethal where there are minions. That's why AKAWonder recognizes that and he wants to replenish his hand a bit with the Wrath.
Oh, yeah, he could come down here with the Innovate.
Yeah.
But he's
Innervate Yeti.
Innovate Yeti. What year is this?
2013, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeti is back.
The interesting question to me here is how do you react to that play from AKAWonder as SilverName? When you wrath your own minion like that, do you get the read he has one combo piece in hand and he's really fishing for the second one, or do you get the read that his hand's really bad and he just wants to cycle at all costs?
Oh, wow. Ancient of Lore off the top there.
Oh
now we
my
can
God.
find a Savage Draw and potentially close out this game. Does he get? He doesn't get it.
Well,
so he's close.
Yeah,
So
he's
it's
really
not bad.
close. Like, he's in a situation where he might not even need the Savage Roar. He still has, like, how much mana will he have? 9 mana next
9
turn.
mana, yeah.
So not there yet to swipe and force, but force alone is doing damage. And if even all the minions are cleared, you still have to start healing up as SilverName because you know that a magical 14 is not enough.
Right. This hand from AKAWonder is pretty much the perfect balance. If his minions get cleared, he has more minions to refill, strong, solid minions, and if he needs to push through the last points of damage, he has that as well. So he has a really, really nice balanced hand to be able to clutch this out, and it's starting to look like this might be his moment unless SilverName can come up with something quite spectacular here.
Definitely, something like a Force of Nature into Savage Roar, Innervate Savage Roar. Like, AKAWonder might be thinking about it. Am I dead? Like,
Yeah.
just like that.
Is this it? But yeah, the flexibility of AKAWonder's hand is incredible. You even have Azure Drake swipe, even if he just fancies clearing something. On the other hand, what can SilverName do, really? Do you just go for the
Force of
clear and
Nature,
hope for the
trade
best?
the 5/5s, yeah, it's not great. I mean, yeah, sorry, trade the forces into here. You can use Keeper as well if you want, or you can use Living Roots to snipe down the last point. So he may just go ahead and decide that Yeti's the play here. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still dead to combo, so it doesn't matter if he
Right.
deals this to 4 or not. And
This
is
is
there a Savage Roar?
Moment.
Yes, he got it! AKAWonder knows it.
The man who's been so hungry for this win finally gets his first major.
Yeah, after so many top 8s, AKAWonder on the back of the Force of Nature, Savage Roar and minion attacks, he's taking his first title and becomes the ESL Legendary Series champion.
This is yours. Congratulations, man. After a long day, we have a winner of ESL Legendary Series at IEM Katowice 2016. Esteban, this is your first major win. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine when I started playing a qualifier with 1,000 people that I would be here today. Thank you.